welcome back to my channel. My name is Nidhi and you're watching my series on how to become a cabin crew. So this video I have decided that I'm going to talk a little bit about some frequently asked questions, especially pertaining to the video interviews with Singapore Airlines. I've made a lot of videos on Singapore Airlines, specifically talking about the interview process, also specifically talking about the video interview process and things like who are eligible to apply for Singapore Airlines. So please go ahead and watch those videos. They'll be very, very beneficial for you because I have detailed on the qualifications, who is eligible to apply, and also when it comes to video interview, what is the process, and everything in detail. So please go ahead and watch those videos so that you can actually ace your video interview. And if you get selected for Singapore Airlines walk-in interviews as well, you should be able to have some information at hand. But in this video, I specifically want to talk about the video interviews. Now, before we get into video interviews, you also need to know that Singapore Airlines do not conduct video interviews in all the countries that it shortlists its candidates from. So, for example, if you go to the Singapore Airlines website and you go under cabin crew in the career page, you'll be able to see which all countries currently Singapore Airlines is hiring from. Singapore, Malaysia, Hong Kong, China, Taiwan, India, Indonesia, Japan and Korea. Now, on and off, they basically post the job opportunities and the openings, so you should be able to see it on the website itself. And some of the countries, they conduct walk-in interviews. Some of the countries, they actually do an invitation-only interview, which means they will ask you to either apply online and then they will shortlist based on your resume, and they will call you for a video interview, or they'll directly call you for a walk-in interview. But we don't really have to go into those details in this video because, as I said, I have made a detailed video on all this, so please go ahead and watch that. But for people who basically are from the countries that they Singapore Airlines open up their online applications for, all you need to do is basically submit your resume. I have made another video where I've talked about how you can submit and upload your video online, and what happens after that is basically they will call you for a video interview. For example, recently they'll be conducting interviews in India very shortly. So they opened up an online application form opportunity that they required you to fill till the 15th October. It's an invite-only video interview. So they will look at your resume, they will look at your experience, they will look at your photographs and a lot of it. And based on all that, they will basically select you for the video interview. So people who did not get selected, do not lose hope. Just keep trying. They really want a lot of cabin crew at this point in time, so be rest assured they will be hiring very soon again. But coming back to the video interview, so what happens is after the cutoff date, they will go ahead and start sending an email to people who got shortlisted for the video interview. Now, if you did not get shortlisted, that means you will not receive an email, because Singapore Airlines does not send an email saying that you did not get shortlisted. They only send you an email saying that you are shortlisted. So for people who are shortlisted, they will receive an email saying that you have to appear for the video interview. So Singapore Airlines hires the software called HireVue, where basically you have to record yourself, and they will be basically seeing the recordings later. So how it works is, and I've made a detailed video on this as well, they will allow you to do some practice sessions, and then they will allow you to take a final interview. Now, practice sessions are unlimited. You can do it as many times as you want, so I would suggest practice as much as you can. Even though the questions are same, they keep repeating themselves, there is a high possibility that when it comes to the final interview, the questions might be different, but at least it will give you the confidence to appear in front of the camera and basically get recorded while you're presenting yourself for a video interview. Is there a live interviewer, or is this a recorded interview? Now, this is a purely recorded interview. There is no live interviewer. So what they do is basically they ask you 2 to 3 questions, and they will give you a certain time frame. So From what I know and what I've seen, the practice session is for 30 minutes because they want you to feel comfortable, they want you to have a little bit of time to practice and things like that. But when it comes to final interview, you only have about 10 minutes to basically complete the whole interview. And in that interview, you will probably have about 2 to 3 questions. And to answer those 2 to 3 questions, you will be given most likely 1 or 2 minutes, depending upon what the questions are. It's basically a mixture of situational questions, some random questions, and also some questions from interview perspective, basically where they want to know your skill set. Now, I'm going to make a separate video very shortly where I'm going to talk about how basically you should answer all these questions, because to be very honest with you, there is no right or wrong answer. It basically depends on what the interviewers are looking for. So that is something that you need to know, and that will tell you how you should answer all these questions. But we're going to do that in a separate video. I'm going to come back to the frequently asked questions. So as I told you, 30 minutes is for the practice, but the real interview is only for 10 minutes. Now, there is a deadline. So for example, the recent video interview, just taking up as an example, the one that is being conducted in India, the deadline is 24th of October, 11:59 p.m., which means you can actually take up the final interview any time before this date and time. It does not mean that you have to take it on that particular date or that particular time. So this is something that people get really confused, so I wanted to address that here. I would suggest that you basically sit down and give the interview and not walk around, because it can be really, really distracting. You can use headphones, you can choose not to use headphones, it's really, really up to you. But if you're not using headphones, please make sure that there is no ambient noise in a silent room where you basically can focus and concentrate, and they also can hear you at a later stage. What happens is basically these answers get recorded, and at a later stage all these interviewers will basically view these recordings, and then they will basically select the people that they think are best in terms of how they presented themselves with their answers, but also how they groom themselves. So the important thing to take note here is, please make sure you groom yourself very well, wear the proper attire, do your hair properly, do your makeup properly, and then only attempt the final interview. One thing to take note of is right at the end of the interview, they will actually ask you to stand up, and they would want to see you in full length, which means they want to see you from top to toe. So please make sure you wear proper footwear. That's very, very important too. So please make note of that. Some of you telling me that during the practice session itself, you ended up pressing a wrong button, and you just send the interview and the recordings basically to the interviewers. So in this case, I suggested one of the people who contacted me on Instagram to basically write to them and see how they can help. And the HireVoo team basically responded back, giving the email address of the person that can be contacted from the recruitment team, and I'm sharing those details right here with you, so you can do the same if you're one of those people who actually ended up sending your practice interview instead of your final interview. So that is another question that I wanted to address here. Also, how long does it take? So the cutoff line, the cutoff date, for example, in this situation is 24th of October for people in India, but it could be different for different people in different parts of the world. So this is just an example that I'm sharing here. It takes another 2 weeks to 3 weeks to basically collate all the information and for the interviewers to go through all the details, and then only they will get back to you if you are shortlisted to go for the walk-in interview. Also, you can use your phone to do this, you can use your laptop to do this, you can use Apple, you can use Android. There is no restriction. The software works on all of these platforms absolutely fine. To a lot of you who want to get any more information or detailed information in terms of coaching with me, do get in touch with me. I will be really, really happy to coach and guide you. And of course, if you like this video, do remember to like and share it with other people, and press the notification bell for more video updates, and do not forget to subscribe before you leave. And all of you out there, always stay pretty, stay handsome, and I love you guys. Bye.